absolutely love, I love listening to these stories from Reddit. So I thought it would be fun if we spend some time and I read you some random stories from this. If you don't know what this means, essentially it is people, people, people. Oh, do you like this pop filter I recently got? I recently, when I was recording a video recently, I realized that whenever I say stuff with a P in it, it was really spiking the audio like really badly. And I was like, oh, that does not sound right. So I got this pop filter. What was I doing? Oh, I was explaining what this is, but essentially it is where people can ask about if something like about a situation and if they're in the right or wrong, essentially, like if they're justified for feeling the way they are or if they're being the A. I'm gonna drink some water though. Okay, let's get into it. Oh, do you like my shirt? It's Shrek. Okay, let's read the first one. Oh, okay. AITA for not taking my girlfriend's side after she embarrassed my friend. Okay. So I'm gonna read this verbatim. Throw away because my girlfriend knows my main Reddit. My girlfriend, 19F, Fiona, and I, 21M, have been together for around a month now, and yesterday I brought her to a Christmas party with all of my friends to introduce her to them. Fiona got along with all of them well, though she was understandably a little shy. It also makes it difficult for her that most of my friends and I are international students, whereas she's born and raised in North America. For context, Fiona doesn't like to cause conflict and often is okay with letting things slide to keep the peace. However, if she's angered, she's also the type to say something and can be a bit of a hothead. Oh my gosh. Wait, that's kind of crazy to say. That being said, she's extremely sweet and understanding, which makes this situation all the more bizarre for me. Fiona was quiet most of the party, occasionally piping into the conversation and letting it take its course around her. She was holding a bag, which I found out today is pretty expensive, around 2.7k. Whoa. My friend Celia pointed out her purse and asked her where she got it, to which Fiona explained it was a gift from her parents. At this, Celia asked what Fiona's parents did. Fiona told her that her mom was a stay-at-home mom and her dad worked in an oil field, and Celia made a face and said, you know, taking oil is horrible for the environment. Bruh. Oh my god. Okay. At this, Fiona asked Celia if the clothes she was wearing was made of polyester and nylon, if she participated in fast fashion, if she took planes or used solar-powered engines primarily. And then she asked Celia if she drew the line for being environmentally conscious as someone working hard to support their family. Fiona's tone was light, but I could tell she was angry. The rest of my friends laughed and told Celia that Fiona had a point and moved on, but Celia went quiet afterwards and left soon after. This morning, I got a text from her that deserve someone better and less snobby like her. When I told Fiona, she went quiet and told me the reason that she snapped at Celia was because she was purposely acting as if Fiona didn't exist and being snide towards her. I tried to argue that Celia never said anything off-putting save for the oil-filled comment, and that Fiona should just apologize to keep the peace, but Fiona refuses and says I didn't pick up on it because I'm a guy and girls have subtext. Honestly, that's very true. Now, Fiona and Celia are both upset with me, and I feel bad for putting them in this situation. Oh. It says update, we broke up. I'm dating Celia now. Oh my god. My heart dropped. Oh my god. Okay, just kidding. Damn, I really fell for that clickbait. I apologize to Fiona for not immediately standing up to her and showed her this thread. She's been reading it for the past 2 hours and laughing. She has not broken up with me, and I've sent a sternly worded text to Celia, telling her that she was being rude and obviously attempting to pick a fight. Celia apparently tried to shit on Fiona to a couple of friends, snidely remarking that she's rude, but they acted confused and told Celia she was mistaken. From what I've picked up from conversations with friends, Celia was not in love with me as some people suggested, just jealous of Fiona. Also, it is normal in the country Celia is from to ask about parents' occupation, and Fiona said it wasn't weird for her to ask about where her purse is from, as she gets it a lot. I'm deeply humbled and will now be thoroughly rethinking the way I behave in relation to my girlfriend. Thanks. Oh my god. Yeah, like it's okay to ask like what the parents do, and it's okay to ask where the bag is from, but saying when I say, digging oil is horrible for the environment. Like, yeah, obviously, like it's one thing if like her dad was like the CEO of whatever, the oil company. But like that's crazy. Yeah, good. I'm still laughing. I got rage baited. Okay. Alright, so that one was fun. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This one says, the title of this one is AITA for telling my friends they aren't welcome at my house in Japan. First off, right off the bat, I would kind of be sad if my friend was like, you can't stay at my house in Japan. But maybe they probably have a reason. Okay. I've been friends with a group of girls since high school. 1M, female 27, I was particularly close with. Also in our group was her best friend, E, who I was never fond of because I found her dramatic. I need to drink some water. Okay. After finishing my undergrad, I moved to Rome to do a master's. While they told me they would be visiting Italy and wanted to do stuff with me, I assumed they were staying in Rome for a while and said great, and asked them to fill me in on their plans so I could see if it worked around my school schedule. They didn't and ended up staying in Rome just 2 days and then traveled across Italy. I was hurt that they implied that they took this trip with me in mind, but then didn't account for me and said whatever, as it was ultimately their trip. After Italy, I moved to Japan and got a job on the northernmost island. They already had a trip to Japan planned before I moved, so I wasn't expecting them to change their plans to visit me. But I said I can fly down to where they said they would be staying the whole time over a weekend to see me. They said great, but when I got closer to the trip, they told me that the only weekend I could see them, they were going to USJ Osaka, but for me to go to Osaka would have been vastly more expensive and take more travel time, so I passed. I was hurt again, but said whatever. Finally, M texted me in December that she and E are coming to Japan in April and going to Tokyo and Kyoto. I happen to move to a prefecture between two cities and offered to let them stay at my house for a few days. I also said multiple times that I was free, unemployed, and wanted to go around Japan with them. I just asked they kept me in the loop so that I could plan things out for myself. Said she was super excited and said, of course. I made the mistake of then telling them. I made this mistake of telling them, saying I had extended family visiting around the same time who also wanted to visit Tokyo and Kyoto, and joked I would be an expert for these two visits. Months go by with no new info. One day E texts me bluntly saying we'll be staying with you for one night, then M texts me about tattoo coverings. I asked them what was going on with the trip, and M said they booked everything already. I said I thought I'd be joining them. Then E responds bluntly again with the dates they'll be in Kyoto. M says she thought I didn't want to come join them because I was going to Kyoto with my family already. I wasn't. And to book at their hotel would cost me over $500. I said never mind, and that this was the third strike. I told them I was in a hotel and they are no longer invited to my house. Emma apologized and said she always tried to account for everyone's emotions, and she had assumed I was going to Kyoto with my family and wouldn't want to go twice so soon. I said I was tired of being led on. I later apologized for reacting so strongly and said I did so because I miss my friends. He said it's not their job to keep me from being lonely and that they always try and account for me. I cut contact after this. Man, that's messed up. Yeah. No, it sounds like definitely E, like, doesn't like them. And that M is, like, trying to be nice, but I'm guessing, like, when they talk together, like, E and M, like, E is like, oh, like, let's not tell, OP about it. That's what I'm guessing happened. Man, that sucks, though. Okay. AITA for refusing to take my shoes off in my friend's house, causing his wife to cancel the D&D session for everyone. Oh my god. Okay. In the comments, write down if you were a shoes off or shoe on household. And if you say shoe on, immediately. No. I feel like keeping your shoes on is just like, I wouldn't be able to feel comfortable. Like whenever I have my shoes on, it's like I'm out and about and I'm like doing something. But if I'm at home, I want to like be relaxed, Okay. It says, I, 38M, was invited to a D&D session with 4 other people at my friend Alex 34M's house. When I got there, his wife answered the door and immediately asked me to take my shoes off because they have a strict no-shoes policy due to them having a crawling baby. That's justified. Oh wow. I explained that I have a medical condition called epidermolysis bullosa simplex (EBS), which makes the skin on my feet extremely fragile. Even mild friction or pressure can cause painful blisters and tears, so I have to wear supportive shoes with cushioned orthopedic insoles at all times, even indoors. Walking barefoot or just in and socks cause me pain and can lead to bleeding. She suggested that I put grocery bags or socks over my shoes, but I told her that's unsafe for walking and honestly just insulting. She said she can't compromise her baby's health for my comfort. When Alex came to the door, he told me to just deal with it for a couple of hours or I wasn't welcome inside. I told him I wasn't going to risk injuring myself over a D&D session, and if my shoes are that big of an issue, I'd respectfully leave. As I walked back to my car, I overheard his wife telling the other guests that were already there that the night was off because I made a huge scene at the door. Later, I got a group text from Alex saying he was canceling D&D night because it's not fair to expect everyone else to pretend nothing happened. Some mutual friends say I overreacted and could have just sucked it up, while others think Alex and his wife were ridiculous for ruining everyone else's plans because I decided not to stay. So, AITA, TLDR, I have a medical condition, EBS, which means I have to wear shoes indoors to protect my feet. My friend's wife demanded I take my shoes off during D&D night for their crawling baby's sake. I told them I would not participate and ended up canceling the whole session. Edit. I should add that I texted our friend group chat a few days ago about my concerns with my condition because we changed location of the meat house to his house instead of mine. Alex reassured me that I shouldn't worry about it, so I didn't bring my indoor shoes. Yeah, I don't. I guess, like, I feel like if it's like insoles, right? They definitely, and their shoes off house, like, they definitely have, like shoes, like indoor shoes, where they can just, where OB could have just put the insoles in to like the indoor shoes and been able to walk around. Unless your medical, like if your medical condition also makes it like you can't balance really well. Like, I guess if I'm thinking about it, like I've worn shoes, like grocery bags over my shoes before, and it was fine. I think it sounds like they were just like OB was just really offended. So this one says AITA for not eating the spaghetti my boyfriend made. I'm gonna keep this simple. Me, 24F, and my boyfriend, 23M, have been together for about 4 years now, going on 5. We live together and both of us cook every now and then for each other. I absolutely cannot handle anything spicy. Sorry if I'm a wuss, but it just ruins any food for me. My boyfriend knows this, and every single time he cooks, he makes it spicy. He thinks I won't notice because he puts it into other things and denies it every time I ask him if he did. Today, he made spaghetti and I begged him, please do not put anything hot in it. If he chooses to put whatever ingredients to make it hot in his, I have no problem with it. I served myself a bowl and guess what? It was spicy AF. I then asked him what he put in it. He said maybe nothing, maybe it was the sausage. I proceed to look on the stove and see he put red pepper flakes all over the pot. I told him what I just saw. He then admitted to putting red pepper flakes, but only a bit. I told him I was not eating it. I leave the room and he starts yelling at me about how ungrateful I am. So, am I the A? No, that's insane. Like, imagine if you had an allergy and he was like, well, I just put a little bit in because I think you're a wuss. Like, that's crazy. Nah, I think it's okay to have a preference. Like, that's insane. AITA for not telling Okay, 26M, was at a crowded park recently where there were food trucks set up and people sitting around was pretty limited, and most people were sitting on this low concrete wall that runs along the edge of the parking lot. On the other side of the wall is a grassy area that's level with the top of the wall, so people sit with their backs towards the grass and legs facing the lot. I had just gotten my food when I noticed the only free spot left. At the same time, I saw a girl well dressed for the park also walking towards it. She saw it first and was heading that way, but I was closer and got there before her despite her running when she saw me approaching it. As I got to it, I looked down at the grass behind the wall and saw a big pile of dog poop where someone's lower back or clothes would land if they leaned or sat back. It was pretty gross. And I decided not to sit. Right then, she walked up and looked annoyed, saying, "Seriously, I was gonna sit there." I didn't want to make a thing of it, so I just stepped aside and said, "Go ahead, you can have it." She immediately sat down without checking behind her, and just a second later jumped with a disgusted look on her face. The poop was stuck on the back of her skirt. She turned to me and snapped, "Why didn't you say anything?" I told her, "I saw it, yeah, but I didn't know how you were planning on sitting. For all I knew, you were going to perch on the edge or sit upright. It's a park. People walk their dogs here. You've got to check before sitting down." She kept insisting I should have warned her, but I told her I wasn't trying to be petty. I genuinely didn't know how far back she was going to lean or sit, but it wasn't really my responsibility to check the ground for her. She could have sat only on the wall and not on the grass and would have been fine. She eventually walked off frustrated, but now I'm wondering if I should have said anything anyways. I feel like, especially since she was so confrontational about the spot, it wasn't necessary. I feel like, especially if she's being like mean about the spot, you should be like, "Oh yeah, like, oh, don't sit there, like, be careful." Like, it's, it's better to be like, God. Okay, let's read the next one. Oh, this one is about Pokemon cards. AITA for stealing back Pokemon cards my fiance's nephews took and Hello all, I'm keeping this off my main as my family members know my account and I don't want them asking me about it just yet. To set this background, I'm 29F, my fiance is 31M, and I have 3 children, 8F, 7F, 5M. Sometime last year, my daughter, Summer, the AF, started collecting Pokemon cards that her bio dad would gift her during visitation. I haven't kept up with the fandom as I aged, but collected coins as a kid and loved the idea of helping my daughter grow her collection. I have also supplemented the collection from Lucky Goodwill Finds. It's about 5 binders worth of cards, with cards from between 1995 to 2018 generally, and some are very rare. My sister-in-law asked my fiance if we could babysit her 2 sons, Peter, 8M, and Paul, 7M, while out of town for the weekend, and as she has to pick up her husband's nephew for something. I was not keen to this for a few reasons, being Peter has to attend an alternative school for anger issues and outbursts, and though they have become less frequent, I wouldn't know how to handle it if something happens. Peter has had issues in the past with stealing money from my fiance, and when we would leave cash out in our room, his mom would get defensive about it, but $10 was never something I would die on a hill for, so I'd usually drop it. Peter has also tried stealing my daughter's Pokemon cards in the past, or my DBZ cards. I took them back, but it damaged my relationship with my sister-in-law a tad. Despite this, I hoped the weekend could go smoothly as she needed the help, so me and my fiance agreed. However, last night I was at work. Summer called me and asked if she could give her Pokemon cards to Peter. I could hear Peter whispering in the background. I was very clear in saying no because I couldn't advise if there would be a fair trade or if he would take the more valuable cards. Later, I asked if my daughter really wanted to give him the cards. She said no. This morning, while tidying my daughter's room, I saw all the Pokemon binders out. I had a bad feeling, opened them up, and discovered half the collection missing. The binders were full, but now there were empty pages and scattered cards missing. I was pissed. I went to Peter's backpack and found some of my DPC cards, my other daughter's full raw collection, and a massive plastic bag with a bunch of Pokemon cards dumped in it. I took everything back and sorted my daughter's cards from Peter's, though I was just going by the card print dates as Peter only had cards from 2022 and beyond, so I thought I put the sorted cards in a lunchbox. I told my fiance this, but Peter and Paul have noticed their cards stash is much lighter and started whining and saying that their aunt gifted them some older cards that are missing. I'm sick and tired of them thinking they can just steal whatever they want from our house. AITA for not giving them any cards back, even if some are actually theirs. I'm worried they'll complain to the sister-in-law. No, that's messed up. That is so messed up. Is that like kleptomania? Maybe like part of it too. Plus, like, if they're like, oh, I have some old cards from the aunt, like, and they're stealing stuff, they would definitely lie about it. That's so scary. I would not know what to do. Like, I'm so bad at confrontation, especially when it comes to like kids, because I'm like, I don't want to like mess them up. This is supposed to be reading for you to fall asleep, but it looks like I am falling asleep instead. Okay. AITA for putting my neighbor's garbage onto their front porches. I live in a townhouse community. We have communal garbage chutes outside that are divided into garbage, compost, and recycling. The chutes have hatches on them. You have to open and simply drop the garbage down into the main collection room. However, my neighbors seem to be unable to do this for some reason and simply dump their garbage bags, recycle, and everything on the ground outside of the chutes. Some of them, I imagine, don't want to touch the handles on the chutes or are just lazy. The management has sent multiple emails about this and concerns regarding pests, rodents, and strata fees going up because someone has to be paid to clean up the mess weekly, sometimes daily basis. Today I had had enough and saw that several people had dumped their trash beside the chute, spilling over onto the sidewalk. A few of the pieces of trash were Amazon boxes with their addresses on them, so I picked up the trash onto these boxes, walked them to the door, and dropped them there. One of the neighbors saw me doing this from the window and said, "What are you doing?" Apparently, and I replied, "Apparently you dropped this. It wasn't in the trash. Next time, put it where it's supposed to go." They told me to F off, and I just walked away. I emailed pictures of their mess to the property manager too. There's a $50 fine for each time someone does this. Am I the A for doing this? It's a lot of garbage. Oh dang, that's so funny. Oh god, that's so annoying. I would be so annoyed. AITA for calling out dog poopers. So, I was walking past my front door and glanced out. I was puzzled to see a couple bending down, looking at something in our yard under our magnolia tree. I stopped where I was, sitting on the sidewalk next to the crouching people. The man grabbed a magnolia leaf and started to scoop something up. He threw what was in the leaf onto the ground cover under our tree. He started to scoop again, but then I went out and said, "Hey, what are you doing? Stop that." When I realized it was dog poop he was tossing. The woman said, "What do you want us to do? We weren't on our regular route." I said, "I want you to take it back with you when you walk the dog and pick up after it. Or go get a bag and come back to clean it up. It's the law. I don't want you to throw your dog poop into my yard." Then the woman said, "There's always a gay." I don't know what word that is. Interesting. Now she's telling people in our neighborhood that I'm awful. FYI, we have 2 doggy bag stations in the subdivision. One right around the corner from my yard, and we sometimes step in the ground cover to rake leaves and pick up pine cones. I don't want to step in dog poop. Yeah, that's insane. If you have a dog, bring a dog back. Oh, someone said, oh. I was like, what is the K word? But it's Karen. Is that a bad word? Oh my god. Like it says K apostrophe 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 N, and I was like, okay, when I say it out loud, I'm like, okay, it is kind of obvious. But I was just like, I didn't want to accidentally say if it was like a bad word or something. So I was just like, a K? Like, what is like a K? What does that mean? Oh god, that's so funny. That's so funny. I also love when people censor the word job, like they do J apostrophe B. Like I'm like, that needs to be censored. Like I definitely agree. I'm in support. Okay. AITA for making my son cry. Okay, I 47M have a son 14M from a previous marriage to my late wife. She passed 2 years ago, and for my son, the wound is very fresh. My son and her were very close as they look alike and have a lot of the same interests in reading, history, and art. Their favorite place in the world is the British Museum in London. Their passion project has been redrawing pieces from the museum for the last 2 years before. For the last 4 years, for my wife's birthday in June and my brother's birthday in December, we go to England for a week so that they can spend time in the museum. However, since she died, my son and I have continued going for his birthday. The problem is with my new wife, 39F. She's only been with us on this annual trip once last year, and she complained the whole time. Now, however, we recently found out we are expecting a child together in May. She raised it to my attention that the money I've used for the trip could be better used to save for the baby, and we could instead do something else for my son's birthday. I thought about it and I agreed. I was worried how he would take this, as it is the only thing he wants to do for his birthday. He doesn't ask for gifts or cake or a party. All he cares about is this goddamn. All he cares about is this museum. We broke the news to my son yesterday and he flipped out. He was so upset, and when my wife tried to tell him why we were saving the money and where the money would go, he said he didn't give a D, and we got into an argument about it. He said he was upset because if he didn't do this year, he'd miss the new exhibit he's been wanting to see, and he accused my wife of doing this on purpose because she already didn't like me. We took this trip twice a year when my wife was alive, wife. So 4 years ago, we started taking these trips. 2 years ago, my wife died, and we took the trip once a year since. My wife died, we took the trip once a year. Oh my. That is insane. That is so crazy. First off, your wife died 2 years ago and you've already gotten married to someone. So that means in 2 years, if she went on the trip from last year, then they've been married to the new wife. Well, like, I would kind of understand if he wanted. I would kind of understand if, like, he was like, oh, I want to get married to someone so that they can be a good, like, a mother to my kid. Like, that, like, I would kind of understand. But the fact he's, like, choosing his new wife over his son, that's messed up. Thank you so much if you've made it this far. First off, why aren't you asleep? Suspicious. Um, but yeah, thanks for coming along on this journey with me. Um, I love these kinds of videos, and I hope you do too. If not, probably not gonna make another one, or I might, because this is really fun. Um, but yeah, I hope you fell asleep, or if you're using this as background noise for studying or working, or even like doing chores and stuff, like, I hope you got them done, or you're still working